This is a solid aluminium Autobot badge that I made specifically to fit my car. A lion playing with a beach ball or whatever is cool, but when I was a kid, all I wanted was a real life-size transformer, and now that I'm an adult and an engineer who knows how to make things, I still haven't forgotten about my childhood dreams, so I turned my car into a transformer. Well, the closest I'm ever going to get to one anyway, and making this chrome-plated badge was surprisingly complex. Between the mounting mechanism, the actual design, the material choices I had to make so it wouldn't melt in the Australian sun like my dash cam, and a heap of 3D printed prototypes, it was a lot, so I thought I'd show you my whole process in this video in case you wanted to do something similar. And I'm also going to be 3D printing some dubious car accessories that you all sent to me, so please stick around for that. Anyway, let's start from the top. Step 1 is to assess our situation. I could pop the Holden badge off easily enough and could see that it snaps into place with 5 of these standard annoying clip things, and the whole badge was slightly curved and made from injection molded plastic, painted chrome. My first concern was that if I 3D printed a badge, these clips would be very fragile. Injection molded plastic is flexible, which is why this works, but 3D printed plastic snaps easily along layer lines. So as a backup, I looked for alternative mounting options and noticed that I could probably whip something up that could lock into these existing holes in the grille. Maybe like a little 3D printed clamp that could be screwed in, if that makes sense. I could of course as well just glue a badge directly on, but I wanted it to be easily removable or even modular in case I end up selling my car and the next owner prefers Decepticons. Oh, and before you all tell me I'm wasting my time in the comments and I could have just bought one off the shelf, I know I did, it's not very good. So on to the next step, design. I took some measurements while I was at my car, and I also took the Holden badge with me so I could take even more measurements at my computer. And for the design work, I'll be using Fusion 360, but any CAD software you can get your hands on should be fine. There's a free version if you dig deep enough on their website, and it's an industry standard tool, so if you're into this sort of thing, it could be good to learn. Just remember that industry standard does not mean good. Fusion 360 is a stinky, unoptimized pile of garbage that regularly crashes. Yeah, so good luck, you've been warned. The design challenges I see are matching the existing curve, making the mounting mechanism secure, and I guess just making it look good. Anyway, this is what I came up with. It's a 2-part design. The first part is the Autobot badge itself. I matched the existing outer ring from the Holden badge, then just traced an Autobot symbol, extruded it, and added some nice curves. On the back are 4 M3 threaded holes to allow for it to be attached to the second part. And this part is the tricky one because I had to match the same curve, and I had to add the clips. At this stage, I plan on CNCing the first part out of maybe aluminium and 3D printing the second part. I know I said that these clips would be too fragile if they're 3D printed, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway, and if it doesn't work out, then I can just try to find another way. Now, they definitely won't be strong enough if you're repeatedly snapping the badge on and off, but I'm hoping if I just attach the badge once and leave it forever, that the clips will hold up fine, but I guess we'll see. Step 3 is prototyping. The Autobot symbol was really easy to 3D print and came out great on the first try. And if you're wondering, these 3D prints were done with the Bamboo Lab A1 Mini, which is a great little entry-level machine if you're looking to get into the hobby. And if you want to check it out, I've put some links down below in the description. The second piece though took me several prototypes and many hours to get just right. The curve had to be exact, which was very challenging, and the positioning, length, and little overhangs on these clips also had to be spot on. Some of the clips ended up breaking, so I'd have to reinforce them or move them, but then the whole thing wouldn't fit properly, so then I'd have to go back, make some adjustments, and wait a few more hours for a new 3D print to finish, rinse and repeat, and you get the idea. But eventually I got to this point. A perfect fit, and it is not going anywhere. Happy with the prototyping, I could move on to step 4, final production. These prototype parts were printed with PLA, which is cheap and good for decorative parts, but if I leave these in the sun for too long, they're going to start warping, which means I need to find a new plastic. And I think ASA would be okay for the final product, but I ended up spending a bit more money and ordered some of this PA-HTCF filament just to be extra sure. It apparently has exceptional thermal properties, and I didn't think it was too overkill like some of the other options. Now, my original plan in my head was to print both parts with this filament, then to just spray paint the Autobot symbol silver, and I think that's a good option if you're following along at home and don't want to spend too much money. But I'm going to be a bit extra. For the Autobot symbol, I'm instead going to CNC it out of aluminium and then plate it in chrome to protect it from corrosion. Some small problems with this is that I don't have access to a CNC machine, and the WikiHow article for how to chrome plate looks just a bit too scary for me, so thankfully, PCBWay is the sponsor of this video. PCBWay is a manufacturing service that does everything from CNCing to laser cutting, electronic circuit boards, 3D printing, and much more. And they're really simple to use. Just upload your file, select the quantity, material, as well as the surface finish you need. I of course chose aluminium with chrome plating, and I also needed threads to be tapped, so I selected yes, and then uploaded a technical drawing that just points out the thread sizing for the manufacturing engineers, and then we can submit the request. The next day, I received an updated quote that took the chrome plating into account, paid the fee, and a few days after that, I received some photos of the final part, which I approved, and then they sent it off to me. I've used PCBWay a lot in the past for manufacturing parts that I just can't make myself, like this clear resin phone case, this aluminium 3D printed part, and this CNC'd wallet. And if you sign up with my special link down below, you can save $5 on your first purchase. And while I'm waiting for my fancy filament and CNC'd badge to arrive, I asked you lot what other things I should 3D print for my car, and then I printed them. So these are bag holders that actually seem really useful. This is a takeaway sauce holder. I'm not sure how useful it is, but thank you. Next was this sunglasses holder. It's just a really simple yet solid design. I like it. And this one is another sauce holder, but with room for a nugget box as well. All right. And this one is a phone holder that uses an elastic band. Nice. Thank you, I guess, for these suggestions. And I've put links down below if you want to check out any of these designers or 3D models. But anyway, it's been a few days and our parts have arrived, so on to step 5, integration. This looks amazing, but it is hefty, which I wasn't expecting, but makes complete sense. The threads are also perfect as well. So now I just have to 3D print the new backplate with the new fancy filament. Now, this filament is intense. It needs to be dried out before use, so I put it inside my filament dryer for 8 hours. It also needs to be printed with an enclosure and with a hardened steel nozzle. So for this print, I'll be using the X1C. And here it is. I think this looks amazing, and I'm sure my younger self would be very impressed because my current self sure is. The aluminium was a bit heavier than I expected, and I'm a bit scared I'm going to hit a bump and it's just going to go flying off somewhere. So after all of this, I might actually have to just glue it on anyway. And I also found this curve measuring device in my car. This would have been really helpful last week. Whoops. But we live and we learn. I really like what I've made in this video, and I hope it's been somewhat helpful at least. Please let me know down below if you have any questions. Cheers.